If your jaw has been clenched all week, your stomach's in knots, you got your fist balled up like Arthur, and you ready to cut off half the family and everybody else, it's not just you. Cycles are closing, and the theme of August is finality. Stay with me because we're about to talk about how to stop internalizing all of that energy and fire and what to do with it instead so you can keep your sanity. I'm Candace Cody Jones, also known as the Spiritual Bestie, and this is Real Talk with the Spiritual Bestie. You are now tuned in to Real Talk with the Spiritual Bestie. What's up, beautiful soul? If you're joining me for the first time, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist associate in Texas, and I want to welcome you to this soft, sacred space where we sit right at the intersection of tarot, astrology, mental health, and Black culture. If you want to understand exactly why your relationships and your body feel like an emotional pressure cooker right now, I can explain. Wait 1 minute. Okay. I'm going to also give you some herbal and psychological tools so you can stop internalizing that stress that's killing you, break those generational survival roles that have just grown tired, baby. And we're going to talk about how to let things fall where they may so you can reclaim your peace, stay out of jail, and survive this upcoming loop-de-loop that we about to be on because August got a ride for us. Grab your tea, pull up a chair, let's look at the sky and talk about what exactly is happening and bringing all this chaos into our life.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Mars is going to be in Cancer on the 11th until late September. That's important and it's going to be impactful because Mars is a planet of action, very courageous. This is the planet where our determination and our willpower live. And Mars can bring like this really exciting, fiery energy with it, but it also can be a little impulsive. And I talked in the last episode about this energy that's kind of been coming through, nudging us out of this place of like people pleasing and seeking outer validation. But when you combine Mars and Cancer, Cancer being the sign that represents our emotional space, our intuition, the things that we really care about deeply, family, close emotional ties, and our connections. This transit now brings further support to us stepping out of this people pleasing space because Mars is pouring the gasolina on Cancer right now. So we're going to be seeing this inner fueled fire that just moves into our space and becomes kind of this self-protective energy that's really focused around emotional safety, self-preservation. And that is going to be the internal priority that comes up for a lot of people. It's going to be more important to self-preserve and to protect our emotions over appeasing other people's views or opinions about what we're doing or what we should be doing. This can be a really emotional time too for a lot of people because you may notice that this energy showing up specifically in your home life, your family life, or those close emotional connections. And the theme is around that impact that it has on your internal sense of emotional safety and security. So this is a really significant transit this month. This energy may make us a little bit defensive, put us in our feels. So just be aware of that and watch that. It may also lead us into some really interesting holidays down the line. So as Whitney would say, watch what you say. Watch what the you say, okay? Because I mean, if you gonna get disinvited to Christmas or Thanksgiving dinner, and I mean, maybe for you it might not be worth it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as that transit continues to unfold. But when I look at Mars dropping this gasolina on Cancer, it really makes me think about Audre Lorde and her writings in Sister Outsider. She talks about how we can use our anger, and she reminds us that when we like focus our anger and our emotions with precision, our anger can actually be this powerful source of energy that really helps us in progression and moving forward. I'll leave a link with more information on that in the show notes. But back to Cancer. Cancer is bringing this intrapersonal kind of energy. It's bringing emotions to the function, basically. And here's where we could see a lot of that transgenerational conditioning and programming show up and kind of our feelings around how it really fits our life versus maybe it not fitting anymore. So a lot of us, growing up were taught, especially if you grew up in the church, to serve everybody else, even if you're starving, give to everybody else, serve first, self last. And you might have even been taught that expressing your emotions, too much of them, or especially when it comes like to anger or setting boundaries, made you disobedient and disrespectful. And now that message translates into I'm an adult and now I'm being labeled as an angry Black woman or I'm dangerous. So instead of being taught to use our anger with precision, like Audre Lorde talked about, we started to learn how to survive by swallowing it, by ignoring it, by numbing it, with shopping, sex, partying, anything to keep us distracted and disconnected. And when this Mars energy comes through with a little bit impulsivity, with a lot of energy, a lot of fight, a lot of determination, a lot of anger, like really aggressive, right? When it comes through with that, and we have this suppressed anger, we have this suppressed pain, Cancer in all of its feels, even though we thought we had wrapped all these emotions up really nicely, put a chain around that box and threw it in the bottom of the ocean. What happens now with that gasolina? It's blowing things up. It's turning into passive aggressive or outright aggressive energy, and sometimes even the wrong places. And the spaces that should be safe, like our homes and relationships, suddenly don't feel safe, suddenly don't feel right. When I'm working with couples, I see this turn into a silent Cold War. And even when I'm, not just working with couples, but also with individuals, a lot of people begin building these emotional walls and think that building this emotional wall is the same as a healthy boundary. And now you're crashing out at your family, you're crashing out at your partner, you're cutting people off, you're not able to resolve conflict. It's just the wall is up, the gate is closed. And that's because we've suppressed these emotions for so long. Now we've reached capacity. We can't take anymore. Mars and Cancer is now into play, and boom, we're like a stick of dynamite because our bodies remember and it internalizes that energy, that anger that we've suppressed, but also those emotions that we've suppressed. And it turns into this tightness in our chest, constantly holding our breath, clenching our jaws, a lot of somatic energy, a lot of somatic anxiety. It turns into us living in fight, flight, or freeze. That is a recipe for disaster. And because we're talking about our transgenerational trauma, we can't just dismiss our stress. We can't just pray it away. We have to physically move it out of our nervous systems and out of our body with movement, with processing and talking about it, letting it up and out. So I want to give you a practice that you can use and come back to it anytime. If you're in a safe space right where you are, I want you to take a deep breath and just slowly fill your lungs with air. And just hold that for a moment and slowly release that. If you're comfortable, close your eyes or lower your gaze and take another deep breath with me. Hold that breath and slowly release it. We're going to go into a somatic jaw drop and shoulder roll exercise. So first, start by just loosening your neck muscles slowly. Turn your head in a circle, really slowly. Touch your chin to your chest, and then go back around. All right, keep your head down and just, try to relax your shoulders and your head and your neck. And I want you to literally part your lips and let your jaw hang heavy. We hold back so many unspoken words, and right here in our jaw lines, that's where they can tend to get stuck. They can sometimes also get stuck in that throat chakra area, but we're going to let our jaw drop for a moment. And now take another deep inhale right through your mouth. Bring those shoulders all the way up to your ears and just squeeze for a few seconds. really tightly. And then as you exhale, physically roll those shoulders back and let your shoulder blades just kind of melt into your spine and your body. Now take another deep breath and hold that for a moment and slowly release it out of your mouth. Keep that jaw open. Let your chest open up by putting your arms behind your back, clasping your hands together, and just gently pulling your hands back and stretching, opening up that chest and that heart space. And if you want, you can kind of lean forward a little bit as you pull your arms up and bend a little to the right, a little to your left, and release your hands. And now take another slow, deep breath. You can close your mouth, lift your head up, and slowly release that. Did you feel that shift in your body, in your chest, maybe even in your, shoulder area? We have to move that energy around. When we constantly live in this fight, flight, or freeze mode and constantly live in survival, in order to step out of that, we have to start teaching our bodies what safety feels like, what it looks like. And what we did just now was teach our body that there's this protective space that we can exist in. I want y'all to hold on to this and that feeling of open space, because we got some upcoming cosmic weather that's going to definitely require that and test a little bit of your patience. Before we go into that, I want to pull a card for this Mars in Cancer transit and see what additional messages might come up for us. So we got the Tower card in reverse. So the Tower in and of itself, upright, is a card of like massive chaos. It is just everything's falling apart. The world is a dumpster fire, like all of that. But having this Tower in reverse is speaking to some of us being stuck and unwilling to step into the change, like really fighting it, really pushing back against it. Let me pull a oracle card and see what additional message may come up with that. Oh, I didn't even see that the Hanged Man came in upright. The Hanged Man is a card of surrender. So it's kind of like, I love it. The message is like, you're resisting when you need to be surrendering. You need to be releasing and letting this go. Because the Hanged Man is stuck. The message that I'm getting is that we're in this place where we are really fighting this change. We are really like holding on so intensely to the life that we've known. And that is so Cancerian. That is that Cancer energy, because Cancer like oftentimes will bring like this nostalgic energy. And so like this Tower card coming up in reverse with us like really fighting this change and really pushing back against what has to go. Like, it's outdated, we've outgrown it, it doesn't work anymore. It was a beautiful thing while it lasted, and in some ways it was an ugly thing while it lasted, and now the dismantling is happening, but we're really struggling to accept this change. We're really struggling to like sit with it and to allow it to happen, because the Tower is like radical change. And that card coming up in reverse also can signify that, hey, it's not all going to fall apart at one time necessarily. Like, some things are going to happen in cycles and in moments, but be prepared for that as well. Then when we have the Hanged Man that was just literally hanging out here, I didn't even see it fall out of the deck. The Hanged Man is stuck. It's a space of forced surrender. This is not, I'm willingly laying down my sword. This is forced surrender. So by us not allowing things to fall where they may, by trying to force something that we've outgrown, that's outdated, that's tired and old, like by still trying to make that thing fit, we're putting ourselves in a position where we now getting laid down. we're now being forced to sit in this space where our hands are tied behind our backs. That is so interesting that we just did that exercise where I asked you to put your hands behind your back and clasp your hands to open that chest cavity. And now the Hanged Man pops open. I don't know. I mean, we can call it a coincidence if you want to. Let me pull an oracle card and go into what's happening on the 12th, because that ain't all. That Mars in Cancer ain't all. That's just a piece of it. So our oracle card is Foundations and Achievements. And when I look at this card, it reminds me, because there's that rainbow on there. It reminds me that after every storm, a rainbow shows up and appears. It's a reminder for a lot of people spiritually that we survived the storm. Also, this particular, group or family here is standing in front of a home, right? And this could also be something new. We had our Tower card that came up a moment ago, right? The dismantling of things, us resisting that. And as beautiful as that was at one point in time, there's something even better coming for you. There's something even better on the way. So by us just allowing things and the chips to fall where they may, and I said that at the beginning, like letting things fall where they may, by us doing that, we can enter this space where these new things, these new opportunities, these new relationships and connections, these new moments can present themselves. So I love foundation and achievements. Also, you're laying the foundation for something that's going to stand the test of time for another generation. You're rebuilding something. And when you look back at it, you're going to say, like, in some cases, like, how did I survive this? But in other cases, you're also going to look and see how much work and determination and commitment it took for you to get there. And hopefully you give yourself credit for everything that you did. Let's go into, though, what's happening on the 12th. As I said a moment ago, we have some extra energy coming through in the month of August as well.
I'm gonna keep it real.
We're going to have our first eclipse of the season. This is really interesting because it's a solar eclipse, and we also have a new moon in Leo. And the eclipses are typically known to be a little dysregulating and disruptive, especially when we talk about like relationship dynamics and close connections. But they're important because they show us the things that we can control versus what we can't. And this feeling can be really destabilizing for a lot of people, especially when you struggle with not knowing what's happening next. Like you really have this visceral reaction to not being in control of everything. Because we tend to think that when we're in control, we have autonomy, we have stability, but that's not really how life plays out. And the moment when we don't have control are really the moments where we're being called to surrender. We're back at the Hanged Man again. We're back called to this space of surrender, right? And because we are being called to surrender, sometimes it feels like we're trapped. Sometimes it feels like we're stuck. But really, there's growth and unseen blessings on the other side of these things. So if we can get into this space where we learn to release the struggle that we have over letting things just be out of our control, and instead put some energy into a space of evolving ourselves and growing and focusing our time and energy on things that are important to us, pouring love into that, pouring energy more into productive spaces for ourselves, then we can really help shape that energy that I talked about with that Audre Lorde spoke about in Sister Outsider. So prepare for the emotional roller coaster, because you might be feeling a lot of conflicting emotions when this eclipse season starts. And in therapy, I talk with my clients a lot about ambivalence. So I want to remind y'all that it's okay for us to hold multiple feelings at the same time. We can be angry and we can have joy at the same time. We can be in grief and experience joy at the same time. We can experience multiple emotions at the same time, and that is okay. We just need to learn to allow ourselves the opportunity to sit with each of them as we show up. And eclipses come to remind us that everything has a season and everything changes. It's also a reminder for us to create space for the things that we need to flow in and out of our lives. We need to allow space for that to happen. And I want to caution you because during this time, you may notice you're feeling a lot more self conscious and a lot more critical. And you might feel this internal battle with like your confidence. This is one of those moments that can bring up questions about your own reality and your identity and really lead you into a space where you have to sit deeply with who you are versus how you've been actually showing up. Are you masking? Have you been putting on? Have you outgrown this version of yourself? Because we're in a season where authenticity is returning and people want to connect and engage with real people. And I find that interesting because with AI, it's starting to become more and more difficult to really identify reality over illusion. And that, in so many ways, is by design. But this whole shift that we're seeing also is one that makes us, it requires us to be attuned and to have full use of our unseen eye, that third eye. It's even more important now that we're connected with that energy because you got to be able to see past all the holograms and all the illusions that are being put in front of you. And this point, this turn, this shift in the tide is where you may start to feel like, you know what? All that faking and flogging and masking and all the respectability politics and all that shit is played. And now you're going to be looking at the role that you've been playing in your own experience and realizing like you've either outgrown it or was never like an authentic connection or part of who you were to begin with. But I want to pull a card for this transit as well, for this eclipse, and let's see what else comes up for us. This is ringing really loud to me right now. This card is ringing really loud to me right now because I feel like this is a theme that we're going to see individually in our own experiences. Justice, exposing truth, bringing truth to light. I talked in the last episode about the sun illuminating things. If you want to go back and catch those readings, I did the reading at the beginning of the episode. But with the sun coming through, illuminating things, it's like this theme is continuing and truth is being revealed. I want to pull an additional card because that is it just came through like a big hammer, that justice card, because it's not just for, representative of our actual justice system, because that's the immediate energy that I felt like there is going to be a rebalance and an exposure of truth. And there is going to be some justice and things around our justice system are going to be being exposed during this eclipse season. Yeah, because what? The devil in reverse. The devil in reverse. The devil card is one that comes through really representing confusion. And with these two cards sharing space right now and coming through, I feel like the message is bigger than just our individual experience. It's a collective message that is coming up. The numerology of it all is really interesting as well. We have the 11 energy that comes through, and 11 is a card that, when we do the numerology, it comes through and equals the number 2. And it is about partnership, harmony. It's that intuitive energy, and it teaches us patience. So this justice card coming through is also a reminder that sometimes we don't feel like we're getting justice, and it doesn't happen immediately necessarily, but that doesn't mean that things aren't happening behind the scenes, because as above, so below. This 11 energy, and which equals 2 energy, is also like representative of the scales of justice, right? There's duality in all of this. So this 11 card is all about duality. It's also, when I see the 11 card and I see this justice card, I'm thinking about the pillars, which are doorways and entryways and pathways, which can represent portals too, on a really deep, centered way. That this justice card is speaking to the fact that we are going to be seeing some things revealed about our justice system, things that cannot be ignored. We're seeing them now in the Nolan Wells case. And we're seeing that even though like this audio is out there, there's still like this just there's a delay and things can feel really imbalanced, especially as Black people living in the United States. Like our history and experience with the justice system has always been one where the scale has been imbalanced, right? It's almost like, always tipped in other people's favor. But there is light and illumination and truth being exposed that can't be ignored. And this devil card coming up in reverse represents to me that the deception is not going to be able to, like the illusion of the deception is not going to be able to be ignored. The truth is going to be revealed. Things are going to be opening up. It's going to be impossible not to move forward with balancing these scales out as things are exposed during this eclipse season. So very interesting energy coming through for the eclipse season. Oof. I may need to do just a separate video and do a separate reading for like our collective energy, going a little deeper into that. And then solitude. During this eclipse season and during this transitional period that a lot of us are finding ourselves in, like we need to take time for ourselves, time to process, time to rest, time to recharge. Solitude is so important. And the difference between isolation and solitude is that solitude is a choice rooted in love. Love for ourselves. Sometimes it's the love for other people because I know that I need to be right in order to show up right for you, or I just need to pour into myself in order to pour into these spaces that maybe I've been called to occupy and work in. But solitude is one of those things that is a choice that's based in love. Isolation is a choice that's based in fear. Isolation is very fear-based. It's us hiding out. Solitude is us walking into the house and gently closing the door behind us and taking our time in the sacred space that we need. Isolation looks like us running into the house, slamming the door closed, hurry up and turning the lock, closing the blinds out of fear of exposure, fear of being harmed or being hurt further, fear of being seen. The list of fears can be infinite. But that's the energy for our eclipse. All right. So very interesting energy. Let me know down in the comments below what y'all think about these card readings and what's been coming up. Like, does that resonate with you? Does anything so far that you've heard resonate with you?
I'm gonna keep it real.
We'll be in Virgo season later this month on the 22nd. And Virgo is all about organization, think analytics, practicality, and solutions. Virgo is really ritualistic, health-centered, very much about self-preservation, and really a true perfectionist by nature. Also, though, Virgo is anxious. So if we had to have a zodiac sign to represent anxiety, it would be Virgo. And Mercury is the ruling planet of Virgo. We can best use this energy, though, to get ourselves focused on getting things organized and in order. So we got to always know like the light and the shadow side of all things. And when you think about the energy of Virgo and Virgo season coming in, think details, 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 details. Don't get hyper focused though on like finding all of the flaws and all of the errors of things. Just focus on the facts. And at the end of the month, as you're navigating this, we're gonna have rode this eclipse season. Well, rode the start of this eclipse season. So, we done got our kickoff with the eclipse season, Mars in Cancer. End of the month comes and you looking around like, well, damn, I'm living in a dumpster fire. And that's because the world, in fact, is on fire. But I'm encouraging you to hold on and enjoy the ride, because what else can you do? Remember, the things you can control is where you want to put your energy. It doesn't help us to put our head in the sand either. So just embrace it. And when you're going through these different feelings and emotions and these different experiences, some things just don't make sense until everything is all over and we're on to the next thing. but the answers will come. The guidance is going to come. Your needs are going to be met, and you will survive this moment. I'm telling you, you will survive it. It is all about being present, because even in the midst of all of this chaos, there are these little nuggets and Easter eggs for us to grab along the way, and we're going to need them. So at the end of the month, we have this moon in Aries and Saturn coming together, and they're going to be bringing some much needed grounding energy for us. During this time, you may want to focus on taking care of like your practical areas of your life, the things that are connected to your foundational needs. This is real root chakra heavy kind of energy. And think Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is that bottom layer of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is where you want to put your energy and focus right now. And I'm going to give y'all a couple of areas that you can start with. I'll give you 6. Number 1, put your major bills on auto pay. Number 2, plan your meals out for the next couple weeks or month. Number 3, reorganize or rearrange your place to shift the energy and welcome in clarity and peace in your life. You may even buy some new plants. Number 4, clean them vents, because baby, you don't have to breathe all of that dirty air, okay? Number 5, take some time to do some womb care, do a womb steam, do some root chakra work. Really, really can be beneficial during this time. And number 6, work on your rest ritual. Your rest ritual can look like what kind of lotion you put on only at bedtime, the type of pajamas you wear, or music that you listen to before bed, certain things that you do only at bedtime so that you can let your body know that it's time to shut down and time to rest. I'm going to pull some cards for this energy. Okay, pops right on out. Let's see. Let me pull our oracle card real quick so I can pull both of those up for y'all. Okay. So the High Priestess in reverse is speaking to some of us being disconnected from our intuition, like that internal voice. And I feel like when you quiet that internal voice so much, you start to lose your sense of it. It's not that it's gone. You just have to reconnect with that energy. So if you're struggling and not able to really hear your internal voice, or maybe you feel disconnected from your body, a lot of times that happens when we experience trauma. Like we go into this survival mode and our brain will like shut certain things down and disconnect us from certain parts. So when we notice that we're disconnected from our intuition or that inner voice, or we're feeling disconnected from our body and we can't really sense things in our body, that is to me always an indicator of trauma in a client when I'm seeing a client. But also, like I tell people all the time, like you can reconnect with that voice and with that energy. And, you know, it's subtle, it's faint, and it's meant to be that way because it's meant to be soothing and guiding. And we have to get into a space where we exercise these things and move this energy around so that we can reconnect with the deeper parts of ourselves that may have been shut off or shut down because we experienced trauma. Our second card is accelerated movement. During this eclipse season and going forward, like things are going to be moving very, very rapidly. Things are going to start to shift quickly for us. So keep that in mind, you know, as far as the energy and what's happening and what's going on, because as you see, we have a lot happening. We're closing a lot of doorways and pathways. We're in a closing cycle just as a whole, but also you're walking into something brand new.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Now, a real talk with the spiritual bestie wouldn't be complete if I didn't give you an herb or two to explore. If you want to quiet that hypercritical, overthinking Virgo mind that's going to make you want to micromanage everybody and everything because the world is on fire, let's get into a few herbs that you can use either separately or together. I chose skullcap as the first herb in this blend because it's great for the nervous system. And while it has more of an earthy taste to it, when you blend it with these other herbs and a little bit of honey, they make a nice combo. Number 2 is peppermint. I love peppermint. I always keep peppermint in my apothecary. It is just one of those essentials. I also love to keep it as an essential oil because it's great for pain. Like if you deal with arthritis or any kind of back pain, sciatic nerves, those kind of things. Blending peppermint oil with like some as a like a carrier oil or lotion can be really, really nice. Just make sure you don't get it into your lady parts, okay? Or in your eyes. Our next one is lemon balm. I love lemon balm. It is a healing, soothing herb. It is a balm, literally. That is its energy. And when I think of lemon balm, I think of the balm in Gilead. You know, I remember that song from back in the 90s, that gospel song. And it makes me now think of Handmaid's Tale. And yes, we're definitely using lemon balm because it feels like we're living inside of a Handmaid's Tale episode. So, yes, lemon balm. Our last herb is holy basil because holy basil is the godmother of all herbs and it is a blockbuster. I love holy basil. It's in my top 3, which is why I felt like, especially with this fiery Mars energy, like we need something to go in, bust open some of these pathways. It's a great blockbuster herb. It's also great if you are working to like kind of sever ties that you've already cut, but you're wanting to kind of like clip them ends and burn them off. You know, when you get like when you have kids, you have the option of getting like your tubes tied or clipped and burnt. Yeah, holy basil's the clip and burner. Okay. So if you want a detailed breakdown of these herbs, their physical and spiritual uses, comment herbs down below so we can connect, and I'll send you the details along with the recipe that you can use for either a spiritual bath or a tea. But all of the things that I just gave you with, you know, the things that you can focus on, those 6 areas of your life that you can focus on during that kind of grounding season, as well as the herb blend, can really help take your mind off of some of the loopiness that we're going to be feeling, because this energy will hang around until the next new moon. So just keep that in mind. I want to pull a tarot card for the moon energy in Aries and see what messages come up to support what we just talked about, or what additional messages might come through. Our tarot card was the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is coming through telling us to be about that action. You know, don't just think it, but get it into a structured space of movement. Like take it from here out to here. Let people see it. Let people experience it. Like be about that action. Get to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. And because it's the Ace of Swords, I also am getting the energy from this card that it's like you're going to be supported. So trust yourself, go forward, get it done, get into action and movement. And you're going to be supported by that with this Aries like energy of the moon. I think this is a great card because Aries is about that action. And this card came through with that. Also, because it was at the top of the deck face up, we also had the 5 of coins. The 5 of coins represents depression and disappointment. And I think that's the thing that a lot of people are battling against is like, you know, whether or not what I'm about to do is the right thing. You have to be connected with yourself, with your higher mind, with your spirit team to really get that guidance that you need on when is the right time, because timing is important. And what I'm supposed to be doing versus what I might be feeling like I really want to do for these other reasons internally. Our oracle card is emotional loss. So that coming through with this 5 energy, 5 always represents like this heavy energy when it's in that kind of shadowy space. 5 is an energy that could feel really challenging, but also it is an energy that is like very liberating. It's a freeing energy if you choose to look at it from the context of what it's actually doing for you. So what feels like loss actually is setting you free right now in this moment. And the 5 represents change. And change can be confusing, it can be conflicting, it can require a lot of courage, it can bring about a process of grief that you have to explore. But 5, as challenging as it is really a freedom type energy number. And 5 is also one of transformation and change and movement. So the spiritual energy behind the number 5 is about growth through an experience. It's like not staying stagnant, not just completely resisting, but really allowing yourself to grow through an experience. On the shadow side of things, when we experience and see the number 5, it can represent us being restless, impulsive, trying to escape, being inconsistent, or chasing things without having a deeper purpose behind it. So when we see that 5 energy, we're being called to embrace change without abandoning or losing ourselves, but letting life stretch us, letting life bend us and mold us, and really remaining flexible in our experiences is going to be the thing that really helps and supports us receiving like the change that we actually need, that we can actually benefit from. During this eclipse season and going forward, things are going to be moving very, very rapidly. Things are going to be happening really quickly. On the 8th, we had the Lionsgate portal. Very, very huge energy portal that opened up. And this could be speaking to some of the residual impact of that. But overall, with us going through this Lionsgate portal on the 8th, and then having eclipse season coming up around the 12th, and all of this energy, like things are going to start to shift quickly for us. As you see, we are going to have a lot going on in the month of August. We're in a closing cycles kind of phase where evolution and rediscovery is happening hard and fast, like it's a lot coming up at us at one time. And at the same time, some of these changes are going to be gradual changes, but the initial impact can be really hard to sit with and really hard to digest. So if this August finality energy is bringing up transgenerational cycles that you're ready to break, I have a space for you. If you live in Texas, my practice offers virtual therapy across Texas, including late evening slots for busy schedules, and my waitlist for our intentional space specifically for Black women in Texas who are navigating trauma and life changes is now open. So if you're in Texas and you want to schedule a consultation, or you want to join this beautiful healing space or do some other work with me, all of the info that you need is in the show notes.
I'm gonna keep it real.
We've covered a lot today. I want to help lock all of this in for you. So grab your journal because I have 5 integrative prompts for the month of August. Number 1, what is one role or mask I'm currently wearing that feels tired and inauthentic to who I am or who I want to be? Number 2, where am I holding on to the illusion of control as a way of protecting myself from the discomfort of surrendering? Number 3, where am I rushing to fix an uncomfortable feeling instead of letting the clarity arrive on its own time? Number 4, in what ways am I turning my self-protection into hyper-defensiveness or waging war with the people that I love? Number 5, what practical foundational area of my life, whether it's my rest ritual or literally cleaning my vents, needs my grounded attention and focus over this month? Let those prompts sit with you. Don't fight the finality of the month of August. Just trust the process, trust the space that it's creating, and we're going to be all right. Well, beautiful souls, that's it for today's episode. All of the info you need if you want to connect with me is in the show notes. I love you guys. Until next time.